and we've defunded programs that would actually help. So it seems to me in this holiday of rebirth, it seems to me in this kind of moment of what would Jesus do now that he's back? Um, I don't think it's all of this. And I know we're in this red hat, blue hat world. I know we're, if Democrats are for the homeless, Republicans have to be against it. I get it. But there's just something called being decent, being a reasonable human being. If you're not going to follow the golden rule of do unto others as you would want them to do, at least follow the silver rule of don't do bad things to people that you wouldn't want them to do to you. And yet the people who tell us they're wearing Jesus there on their sleeve, they're doing some horrible stuff. And they want to criminalize abortions. They want to criminalize contraception. They want women back in the kitchen, desperate, at the will and the whim of their man. And I got to tell you, I find it deplorable, but predictable. And in this moment of rebirth and in this moment of new beginnings, what will we do? How will we act? Will we stand up for the downtrodden, for the least among us, for the hungry, for the poor, for the desperate? Will we fight for them? Or will we allow a Supreme Court to say, no, you are criminals for being poor? Want to hear your thoughts? Email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. Going to take a quick break. When we come back, my friend Pat LaMarche, a homeless advocate, is going to be here to share some thoughts on this Grants Pass case. And maybe are we criminalizing poverty? Back after this.
We are AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees. We represent 700,000 federal and D.C. government workers who are the vital threads of the fabric of American life. We support our nation's military. We take care of our nation's veterans. We protect our nation's borders. We respond to our nation's crises and natural disasters. We provide services to our nation's seniors. The American Federation of Government Employees. We work for America.
I took 2 years of electric in high school, and I was the only girl in the class there. Here, I'm the only girl as far as installers go. I'm a single mom, too. I joined the union because it gave me options for health care and life insurance so that I know my son's taken care of. I like what I do. This is the best job I've ever had. You think solar panels is more like California. You wouldn't think Appalachia would have any. It would be smart if the government would invest more in clean energy resources.
Welcome back to the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is Rick Smith.
So I come back to the question, what does the conservative worldview look like if you hit a bit of misfortune? What happens to people if they get sick, lose a job, or heaven forbid, just born poor with no support system, with no family to help back you up? What does that look like? Especially if you're in a hostile community. What does that look like? What if I'm homeless? Should I just immediately turn myself into the police so that I don't have to incur fines and harassment and, the kind of nonsense we're seeing going on? Here to share some thoughts on that, I've asked our good friend Pat LaMarche to come talk with us. He's an author, homelessness awareness advocate, and a journalist over at the Bucks County Beacon. You do know here in April, a case before the Supreme Court going to be heard on this Grants Pass versus Johnson, which could, if gone the wrong way, could make me just have to go to the police and turn myself in. Pat, thanks for taking time for us.
I think that's brilliant. Well, thanks for having me. I actually got my press pass Friday. I'll be in the oral arguments for Johnson versus Grants Pass. Gloria Johnson, it's class action on behalf of 6 people. Gloria Johnson, I believe it's 6, is the lead name. Another young woman who filed in the class action died because when you're experiencing homelessness, you have a much shorter lifespan. And they tried to get the case thrown out because one of the plaintiffs died. That's how sweet these people are. But the Ninth Circuit saved the case, and it's going forward.
So as I understand it, the Ninth Circuit has decided that this rule, this law passed by this Grant Pass community is cruel and unusual. So the burden now is on Grants Pass, the defendant in this, to convince this Supreme Court, which I got to tell you I don't have a lot of faith in.
Yeah.
But this does say that the lower courts ruled that homelessness isn't a crime, right?
Well, what was happening was they ruled that if you couldn't enforce a rule like theirs, if the person had nowhere to go. So the Ninth District basically invented a new category of homelessness, which irritates me too, but it's okay, called involuntary homelessness. Implying, that there's so much voluntary homelessness out there that if you were involuntarily homeless and you had nowhere to go, that Grants Pass could not fine you for having a pillow, a blanket, a piece of cardboard. They used these determining factors to say that you're proving your intention to sleep outside or in your car because you had a pillow. So you proved your intention. So, if you just drink too much and fall asleep on the park on your way home from your frat party and then get up and walk the rest of the way, you didn't bring your pillow, so it wasn't an intention, I guess. I don't know what they're thinking because it's so unkind and cruel.
So if I get this right, as long as I'm homeless with no possessions,
right,
as long as I'm completely indigent with nothing, then it's okay. But the second I start going, I might need a toothbrush and I might need, I don't know, somewhere to lay my head, then that's the crime?
So, yeah, you got to use the curbing for your pillow, I guess, except I don't know this Grants Pass very well, so I don't know if they'd still find a way to do it to you. If you had absolutely nothing in your pockets, nothing, your wallet, that's it. But the Ninth Circuit said, no, if people have nowhere to go, you don't have a right to hassle them. And the bill is crazy. I mean, the rule is crazy. You get fined if you are found out with a pillow or a blanket or something. You get fined multiple times. I think it's 3. Then you get banished from the city, right? So you can't come back in the city until you pay your fines. And if you come back in the city, that's when you've committed a crime. So by returning to the city, Romeo is banished. I mean, I haven't heard this since Shakespeare. You've got to get out of the city. Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. And they want to go. I'm excited to sit there and hear this argument about why this sort of cruelty makes sense to the dear people of Grants Pass.
Well, I mean, I guess it's not surprising given just how much harassment and intimidation the homeless community does get. I mean, I've seen stories all across this country that they've passed ordinances that you can't feed the homeless. There's one group, I think it's in Houston, that they're fined every single day it's been forever. But just for the idea of handing someone who might be hungry a sandwich, that in a world where we're told, in a country where we're told we're a Christian nation, just seems, well, I don't know, anti-Christian.
Yeah. Well, I don't know any religion actually, Hindu, Muslim, any Judaism. I don't know of any religion that doesn't have do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's like the fundamental premise of every religion in the world.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda is sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the